up to another good morning. Time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure. We are all
Welcome back to the 3x5 Live
podcast.
Hello, friends.
Hi, friend.
Thanks for being here today. We chatted about a little time and what time means to you in our last podcast.
Mm-hmm. Some time management.
Yeah, and today I think we're going to riff on a topic that comes up here a bunch, but it is self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a quote here I want to read. Your subconscious mind is always listening to and believing in everything you repeatedly say about yourself. So try not to become your own enemy of progress, which happens so often where, we're trying to accomplish some goal and you're the one that's sitting inside of yourself, telling yourself you can't achieve it, telling yourself that you're not good enough, you don't deserve it.
This ties hand in hand with mindset too. I think so often we don't recognize how powerful the stories are that we tell ourselves and how much impact it actually has on our actions and the way that we show up in the world. We are our own worst enemies for sure in terms of that cyclic thinking and, the anxiety that it causes, whether it's through social situations or situations at work. And, a lot of it resides in our own, between our two ears, and really nobody else recognizes the battle that you're going through with yourself. So we just thought that it was timely because I think a lot of us have been dealing with some self-talk and some things that are swirling in our brains that.
Yes. Yeah. And one term I heard for this is from somebody say the silent killer. And that really struck a chord with me. It's just like we can control what goes on between our ears, and it can be a silent killer because nobody else hears it except yourself. So we have like 6-7 steps to help address this negative self-talk, this silent killer. So we'll kind of walk through those a little here. So step one is really obvious, but it's observing and identifying your self-talk. So just be an observer. When you start going down that spiral, sit back and just observe yourself saying the statements that you're saying.
And a lot of times they're the same things over and over, but they might seem like it's a new dialogue. The second step was log those negative thoughts. You can do this in a journal. You can even do this mentally as they come up for you. I've done practices with people before where if you have the same script, the same dialogue, and it's on repeat, and you can write it down in a journal or some type of piece of paper and just see what are those negative thoughts that are coming up most frequently. And then that allows you the ability to then take a step back and identify the deeper cause of where are these stories or ideas coming from? Like, what is the root of those stories and ideas? Yeah. So it just basically brings them from like the internal to that awareness where it's like an external thing now that you can look at and identify. Yeah.
Step 3 is avoid the words always and never.
I say this to you. Like you sometimes will say always, and I get mad. Like,
yes.
Like you always leave dishes in the sink, or
That's
true.
And
I right?
Yeah, don't air our dirty
but
laundry.
I was just saying, like, I think that is across the board. Using the words always and never are very tricky because they can create, a negative talk not only for internally, but also for people. Even saying it with your kids. Like, why do you always leave your shoes by the door, right?
Yeah, it locks the behavior in the brain. So you really don't want to use, or like I always lose my keys, or I never show up to work on time. You're basically creating your identity and behaviors around that by using those really strong words of always and never.
So if you're not going to say it out loud, right, then definitely don't say it inside to yourself.
Exactly.
Because it's just as hurtful, right? The fifth one is talking about the statement, I am. Wayne Dyer's work does a lot with this. I've done activities, again, with graduate students where I actually have them journal the I am statements. And this could be awesome paired with that second one that I talked about where you're journaling those, what are those thoughts that are arising most frequently? And then using the I am statement to counterbalance that. So if you are identifying yourself in a negative way, how do you flip the I am to something positive? So what I suggest doing, this is something that's actually pretty cool, is take 5 minutes, put on some quiet, calm music, find yourself some space, and write down I am statements about yourself that are positive in nature. And if you can use that negative list of negative self-talk and use that as a starting point to kind of negate what you already identified, then you're going to set yourself up with that positive mindset around those things so that when that negative thought comes up again, maybe you can replace it with that positive affirmation, that I am statement that you just created.
Yeah. Yeah. And just also, if you are going to use I am in a negative way, like I am being a jerk, like sometimes we just like, you do something, you did it. And you're like, I'm such a jerk.
Does that happen to you often?
You got to throw in there, I am being a jerk, because right there, like, even though you were a jerk in that moment, you're just like, I'm identifying this, even though it's the slightest tweak, we're like in the minutia right now, but you don't want to make that an all-encompassing statement. So
it's like the always and the never. But this is something that we work on with our kids too.
Yes.
Making sure that you don't identify your kids with, you are statements, right? Or
because that is shaming them instead of bringing guilt. Some Brene Brown I just
there
dropped
you
in
go.
there.
So like saying like you are messy versus like right now you're being messy, you created a mess, right? So it's separating the behavior from the person so that they don't take that as an identity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So this is actually step 5. We skip on there. So that was step 4. This is step 5. And it's kind of, when you make a mistake, you have to own it. So I look at this in like an office context of, if you did something and you're in a meeting and you just come out and own it, it just takes the energy out of whatever mistake you made. And, because I've sat in meetings where I'm just like, wow, that guy really messed up. But if he just owns it and says, hey, I made an error here. This is why it happened. I apologize. It won't happen again. In my mind, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And I don't have nothing swirling negatively about that person because they just brought ownership to it. Mm-hmm. So when you do that, you just really break the momentum of whatever mistake you did make.
I mean, how many times have you been in, and actually my girlfriend and I have been talking about this recently, that, I don't know, post-COVID, some of us are struggling with social engagements and being like around socially with people that we haven't seen in a while. And, you might leave that conversation that you've had with this person and your brain starts spiraling of like, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Or should I have said this instead? Yeah. Or like, oh, I hope I didn't hurt their feelings when I did this. And already that person probably has forgotten what you've talked about, but we have that idea of like, it continues to swirl and swirl and swirl and swirl. So like Bryan said, I love that, because if you can nip it in the bud right away and just be like, listen, like, I'm sorry, that was a little awkward. Like, I feel like I'm a little out of practice, or like, I hope I didn't offend you when I said X, Y, and Z. That right there sucks the energy from the conversation. And then you don't have to go home and take that garbage with you and like rethink everything.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So last step 6 is
reframe failure. So this is that idea of, instead of looking at, I don't know, like, how would you say this?
So basically, when
we don't learn from when things go perfectly.
Yes,
so giving,
exactly.
I say this all the time, but like, it's almost like that give yourself grace piece, right? Like when we fail, instead of that being that a lot of failure stems negative self-talk. Like we like have that, it's like an aftermath of it, right? Like you fail at something, you're feeling really bad about it. And so that idea of like, we say this with our kids, like when they fail, we celebrate it. We're like, good job. Like that was awesome. Like, but when we do it ourselves, we're a lot harder on ourselves. So taking our own advice and allowing ourselves to recognize that failure happens, and that most of the time we hold on to it way longer than the people who like witnessed it or we failed, because they let it go way faster than we do.
Right. And you hear about guys like Edison that had 1,000 failures, and then the 1,001st failure, it finally clicks and his invention's made. And you hear about Jeff Bezos and like the amount of failures he has had that has gained now, so much success. So just reframing failure that, hey, first off, it's fleeting. And then also that's where we get our biggest lessons from those things. So
Tyson, right, hand in hand with resilience too, the greatest failures and that idea of being resilient in practice and, all these things that we're instilling in others, but it's also very helpful to remember those for ourselves. Yeah.
So remember the silent killer. Take this so seriously. I am so bullish on self-talk. That's, I think, what drives me to do some of my ultra marathons and hard training, because when I'm done that, my self-talk is so positive. And I think I'm addicted to that more than the actual physical activity, which sounds so counterintuitive, but it's true. So don't take this lightly. If you do have some patterns that you're thinking and you're constantly going down, try to take some of these steps to just reframe it with some I am statements, and see what can come of it. So
Love it.
all right, guys, until
All right.
next week.
Have a great week.
Hey, please subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts would be fantastic if you haven't done so yet. Did you have to say something?
No. There's another thing you usually say, but
you always say like it.
I was going to say like it, but I
that's
didn't.
That's on YouTube.
I know.
All right, guys, we're awesome at this stuff. All right, see ya.
Bye, guys.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning time.